guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new I Don't Work Here Lady content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled Manager Reveals Illegal Hiring Practices When Mistaking Me for Applicant. Names have been altered out of consideration for the business owner. I'm a bit older, I've got grandkids in high school, let's put it that way. So I've been especially cautious about staying home during the COVID-19 pandemic. Part of that has, unfortunately, meant indefinitely cutting out my regular trips to the gym. So I invested in a couple pieces of equipment for my house. I'd purchased them from a local fitness retailer who I'd selected in part because of their generous warranty and repairs agreement. But then, one of the machines broke. I called them up and all of a sudden, they were a lot more difficult to get on the phone than they were during the sales process. Wouldn't commit to a repair date, technicians never in, customer service always putting me on hold for ridiculous amounts of time even though it was a small local store, just endless. Finally, I decided to go over and sort it out in person. At this point our state was only just beginning to open up, so things like fitness equipment stores weren't seeing a surge of foot traffic yet, and I was surprised to find about a dozen cars parked in the lot. Mostly lifted trucks and Jeeps with Punisher stickers and similar embellishments. I figured that made sense for the kind of clientele whose first order of business after a nationwide shutdown would be to get to the gym equipment store. I didn't really think much else of it at the time. I was just coming from a full morning meeting, so I was wearing business appropriate attire. Dress pants, pearls, knit turtleneck, the works. I came in and saw a line of buff, meaty guys lingering around near a counter, looking as though they'd also just come from work, and figured they too were waiting to talk to customer service. They looked surprised to see me, but I figured it was because most old people are staying put right now if they can help it. I gave a polite wave and otherwise kept my distance. After a few moments I realized the employees were calling the buff meaty guys by name and taking them into a back office to deal with their concerns, and I figured it was a social distancing measure. So I went over to a guy wearing a store uniform calling names and asked, "Excuse me, do I have to take a ticket or get my name on a list or something?" He seemed surprised too, but again, I chalked it up to age. He said to wait a minute. I asked if I should get started on any paperwork. A lot of the other guys were filling things out, and I figured they were claims related to repairs or other information I'd need to provide to expedite the process, but he just kept insisting I wait there. Meanwhile, a more senior guy kept surfacing every few minutes calling for people to talk to him in the back. Brett, Tony, but then the more junior guy pulled him to the side and pointed me out. I waved. The more senior guy came over and asked, "Hi ma'am, are you sure you're in the right place?" And I replied, "Oh, definitely, I've been planning to come down here all week." And he said, "All right then, we can chat right now. You want to come on back, you ready?" The beefy guys were exchanging some puzzled looks, but I thought it was because I was jumping the queue. I assumed they were prioritizing me because I was at the highest risk. I said, "Oh, that's sweet of you, but most of these men were here before me. I'm fine to wait. Why don't you give me any requisite paperwork to take care of in the meantime?" But he just shook his head, going, "Well, before you fill anything out, why don't we talk first?" And off we went. I sat down in a small back office, across from these two men at a desk. It seemed like quite the to-do over scheduling a simple repair, but I figured this was life in the new normal. So they looked at each other as though neither quite knew what to say, and I'm thinking, is this both their first day on the job? Let's get on with it here. Finally, the more senior one cautiously ventured, "So, do you have a lot of experience with the specificities, inner workings, and maintenance of gym equipment?" Now I'm thinking they're trying to find reason to put me at fault and void my warranty or otherwise upsell me, so I shoot back the curt but truthful answer, "I've been working out every day for longer than at least one of you has been alive." I can look at any model on your floor and tell you what they do, why, and which features are necessary versus which features are just extra flash designed to line your pockets, and I definitely know a working machine from a broken one, so I don't even know why this discussion is necessary. Just tell me what information you need, I'll sign what I need to sign, and let's get this taken care of. The more senior guy folded his hands on the desk and went, "All right, listen, I'm sure you're very experienced and do know your way around, but okay, listen, how old are you?" What? There was no universe in which he needed that information to get a repair tech to my house. I was really and truly lost at that point. Was he coming on to me? Was he insinuating there was no use in fixing my machine because I'd be dead soon enough anyways? What? What could that possibly have to do with anything? You have no right to ask me that. The more junior guy whispers, "Hey, yeah, I don't think you're legally allowed to ask that." So, that's when it all starts to click for me. The senior guy, in rank only, he couldn't have been a day over 30, put his hand up in a shut-up gesture to his partner and continues, I can't tell if he's trying to walk back his earlier statement or double down on it, going it's just that, when the clients come in, they're going to have a much easier time trusting someone who looks like them. So, it's not even so much about age than that you're a woman. The junior guy gasps, in pain dismay, "Bro, no," and turns to me, switching into professional mode from night to day in an instant. What my colleague meant to convey is that we are targeting a certain demographic, and he ran out of buzzwords with that sentence alone. They realized the situation was getting away from them at that point as I sat in silence, staring daggers into them. Finally, fully understanding that I'd walked into a pool of job applicants and been mistaken for one, I said, "You realize it's illegal to ask an applicant their age or discriminate on the basis of gender?" The senior guy definitely thought he had the situation handled as he exclaimed, "It's really not about us, ma'am, we're trying to keep you safe, you know. We're not saying you can't work here, like that you're incapable. Just that you shouldn't, like, we're doing you a favor by not considering you, really. There's a lot of heavy lifting that's not safe for older people. Your bone density decreases hand over fist as you age, haven't you noticed that? And you'd be in the store alone sometimes with other employees, you'd be the only woman here, that would be very uncomfortable. For you, I mean. I wanted to be sure I had my bases covered, because I'm lucky to have stable employment, but plenty of my old biddy peers are struggling right now, and it infuriates me to think they're ever dealing with this kind of bullcrap. So I went, well, thanks for your concern. But times are tough and I'm qualified for this position, so I'd still like to fill out an application. The junior guy looked like he wanted to give me one just to make this end, but the senior guy said firmly, for all the reasons I just outlined, I don't think that's a good idea. I heard enough. No way this infant sweat stain owned and operated a business, so I asked to speak to the owner. They said the owner wasn't reachable by phone. There was a tray of business cards on the desk, so I picked up the one with owner listed on it. While it did only have a phone number for the main business line, it also had an email, so I said guess I'll just email him then. Now, I need your full names. The junior guy said his name was Ken Lopez. Fine. The senior guy said his name was Brian Smith. I nodded and asked, hey Brian, why's your shirt say Andy on it? I found his real card and took it for my records. I didn't want to give the guy any opportunities to hide behind those bogus excuses, so as I turned to leave, I concluded a final time with feeling, just so we're clear, you're saying you will not even let me apply for the job, because you won't consider me based on my age and gender? He tried to stay silent at first, but eventually cracked under the pressure and babbled, look, it is what it is, ma'am. While his clueless junior counterpart said, good luck on the job search. And tried to offer me a coupon for my trouble of having driven all the way there. I had no sympathy for the junior one either though, because he didn't give me an application back at the beginning when I still thought I was in line for customer service. He took one look at me and got his boss instead to weed me out. So I left shortly after that point and exchanged emails with the owner. I explained what had happened, not only that their people utilize discriminatory hiring practices, but that I'd arrived as a customer and no one greeted me or asked how they could help, to such a degree of negligence that this situation was allowed to occur without either ever realizing I was a customer. I still didn't get a job application, but that's quite alright. My current employer probably wouldn't be too thrilled to hear I was shopping other offers. What I did get was swift, hassle-free repair of my machine and a direct number to contact for the future. The owner also later called to personally apologize and informed me the senior guy had been let go and the younger one disciplined. The kicker? The business owner was a woman. The next story is titled "I'll Poop Wherever I Like." This sub is a dream to me. I have experiences like this constantly. I think it might be due to having spent 17 years in the service industry. I just have that look. I've started wearing earbuds everywhere I go, but obviously that's not something I can do in restaurants and bars. My buddy was taking me out to a fancy French restaurant as a treat and I was pretty gussied up. I really enjoy getting dolled up and wearing a beautiful dress to enjoy a wonderful meal. However, the city in which I live, Portland, Oregon, has a reputation for diners dressing down, even in fine dining restaurants. It's a running joke among locals. You'll go into a restaurant where a couple will easily drop a couple hundo on one meal and over half the room are wearing hiking clothes or yoga pants. I only mention this because the staff tends to be better dressed than the clientele. I was wearing all black with my hair in an elaborate updo and chandelier earrings. I think the all black is what started everything. This particular restaurant has a well-known, and frankly downright foxy, chef who typically works at a station expoing and plating where everybody can see him. It's also near the door to the only washroom in the server station. It's a huge restaurant and with only the one washroom, there was a bit of a line. I waited and waited and at one point I think the chef and I exchanged a few pleasantries. When I was next in line, a middle-aged man in a Portland issue plaid button-up and jeans got in line behind me. He had cranky energy and was shifting from foot to foot. It didn't seem like he had to go badly, just that he was impatient. I had been waiting much longer than him and found his constant sighing and scoffing irritating. When it was my turn, I reached for the door only to have this awful man push in front of me and nearly knock me over, shoving himself into the open door. I was so taken aback I just sort of froze and said, "Excuse me, I was next." Which is when he wheeled around, started yelling about how he wasn't about to wait while some waitress changed her tampon. And then yelled at the chef that he should have a staff bathroom, because it's disgusting that the staff use the same bathroom as guests, and implied he might not pay for his meal because of it. I stood there in absolute shock, and a full bladder, while this man took care of his business. Clearly taking his sweet time out of spite. Maybe. Something about his personality made me think he hadn't taken a normal crap in years. The chef apologized to me and a waiter who had been at the server station commiserated. I decided duck it. I don't work here, but even if I did, there is no reason to be treated like I'm not a human. Seriously, dude. You're wearing muddy Teva sandals and suddenly acting like we're in ducking Downton Abbey. When he came out, I used my entire body to block his path out of the bathroom and gave him a stern, but quiet lecture about how A, I actually wasn't an employee, and B, there is nothing wrong with sharing the bathroom with the staff, and told him that he had ruined what should have been a special night out. Again, this all happened in full view of the entire kitchen staff and several members of the wait staff. I hadn't realized it at time, but this jerk was actually seated directly next to my friend on the banquet. His female dining companion was sitting next to me. I had been gone easily 20 minutes and my friend was confused and annoyed. I figured at that point I had nothing to lose, so I loudly explained what happened while gesturing to the awful man and making pointed eye contact with the woman. The man looked furious and the woman just silently glared at him. After a few minutes, the waiter wordlessly dropped their check. They were mid-meal and hadn't been offered dessert. It was clearly a very pointed, but polite, "Duck you, get out" from the staff after his rant. They paid without incident, and as they got up to leave, he tried to put his hand on her shoulder only to have her jerk away and say, "Don't touch me." TFW, you realize your partner is a complete jackass who got you thrown out of a restaurant for screaming about tampons. We got a cheese plate and glasses of sparkling rose as a gift from the restaurant. Cheers. The next story is titled Sorry Ma'am, Flight Attendants Aren't Actually Airport Employees. A few days ago I was between flights in the RSW airport grabbing a cup of coffee. I'm in my flight attendant uniform and I get approached every once in a while, and I do my best to be polite and help people out since most airport questions are easily answerable. A woman approached me and asked where the smoking area is. I'm not a smoker and I've only been to this airport a few times, so I'm not actually sure. Me, a smoking area? I think I saw one over by the Dunkin' Donuts. I'm not sure if there's one on this side. Lady, way over there? That's the other side of the airport. Are you sure there's not one over here? Mind you, this is fairly small airport. It takes about 5 minutes to get across the entire terminal. Me, I'm sorry ma'am, I've only been here a few times, actually. I work out of Minneapolis, so this airport is pretty foreign to me, hee hee. Maybe you should ask one of the gate agents or someone working at the coffee shop. I try a charming laugh. Lady, but I'm asking you now. Why can't you be helpful here? She's getting frustrated with me. Me, again, I don't actually work here. Us flight attendants don't actually spend a ton of time at the airports we go to. I don't know the layout. My coffee arrives and I ask the barista about smoking areas. Barista, there's a smoking area just over there, you can actually see it from where you're standing, ma'am. It's literally 50 feet away. I hadn't noticed it since I don't smoke. Things like this usually aren't on my radar. Me, oh, it's right there. Nice. Just for future reference, ma'am, flight attendants aren't actually airport employees, so we're kind of helpless with things like this. Ha! Have a great day, alright. I'm trying to be charming. Lady, HMMPH. Then why did you try to send me all the way to the other side of the ducking planet if it's right there? Whatever. Learn how to do your job, a hole. She walks to the smoking area in a huff. The barista and I looked at each other in silence for a few seconds before sharing a quick laugh. I swear, I did my best to be helpful even though I didn't actually work there. Even after explaining this, the woman insisted that I worked at the airport. The next story is titled "I'm Not Your DoorDash Driver and Quit Trying to Take My Food." This happened last week. I was visiting Austin, Texas and staying at a nice hotel. I'm brown and I'm an IT executive. I ordered takeout from a local barbecue place and was going back to my hotel with my food in a large paper bag with the name of the restaurant written in large letters on the side. There was a group of people outside the hotel, and as I approached the hotel entrance, this woman rushes over and grabs my bag of food. I yank it back. She goes, "I've been waiting for this." It just hits me that she thinks I'm her food delivery driver here with her food. I politely tell her I'm not her delivery driver. With a confused look on her face, she goes, "Are sure? You look like one." At this point I just want her to let go of my bag, and a few of her guy friends come over and tell me to stop giving her a hard time and to hand over her food. So I spell it out for them. I am not your food delivery driver. This is my food. I'm a guest at this hotel. I yank the bag away from her, and as I enter the hotel, I see her pulling out her phone and saying I'm calling delivery service and telling them what in a hole you are, and I want my money back. Go right ahead, lady. Go right ahead. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.